I was sitting in my car staring at my phone. A Facebook notification popped up. My girlfriend tagged me in a new post. The image showed suitcases lined up on the driveway of my house. Her caption read, "Start walking." I did not know whether to laugh or cry. The funniest part? That was my house. Those were her suitcases. And just an hour earlier, I had liked her post about toxic men and commented 2 words, "I agree." Everything started with what seemed like an ordinary argument. Before I get into this story, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. If you have ever loved someone whose social media mattered more than your actual relationship, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. You are going to want to stay for this one. Now let me tell you how we got to this point. My name is Caleb. I am 30 years old and I work as a software engineer at a tech company here in Austin, Texas. I have always been the quiet type. I go to work. I come home. I do not need much drama in my life. About 3 years ago, I bought a small house in the suburbs. Nothing fancy, just a 2-bedroom place with a nice backyard. It took me years of saving, and it remains one of my proudest accomplishments. I am not really a social media person. I have a Facebook account, but I barely post anything. Maybe a photo once every few months. I always believed that real connections happen face-to-face, not through screens. I met Madison at a coffee shop 2 years ago. She was sitting at a corner table holding her phone up at this perfect angle, trying to capture her latte art for Instagram. I found it kind of adorable, honestly. She had this energy about her, this brightness that made me want to know her. When I finally worked up the courage to introduce myself, she smiled at me like I was the most interesting person in the room. Madison was 28, worked as a freelance marketing consultant, and she was creative with social media in ways I could never understand. Our first dates were magical. We walked along Lady Bird Lake at sunset. We tried every taco place on South Congress. She laughed at my terrible jokes, and I felt like the luckiest guy in Austin. After 6 months of dating, Madison moved into my house. I thought we were building something real. I thought I had found my person. The first sign that something was off came on my birthday. I wanted to stay home, cook a nice dinner together, just the 2 of us. Madison had other plans. She wanted to go to this upscale restaurant downtown because the lighting was perfect for photos. I gave in because I wanted her to be happy. We got dressed up. I made reservations at a place that cost me half a week's paycheck. And the entire dinner Madison was on her phone, adjusting angles, trying different filters, posting stories. I sat across from her watching my food get cold, feeling like a prop in her photo shoot. She posted a picture of us with the caption, "Birthday dinner for my amazing man." But we barely exchanged 10 sentences that whole night. I told myself she just wanted to share our happiness with the world. I told myself it was fine. A few weeks later, we had our first real argument. I had forgotten to like one of her photos. I did not even realize I had done anything wrong until I came home and she refused to speak to me. The silent treatment lasted the entire evening. When I finally asked what was bothering her, she looked at me with genuine hurt in her eyes and said, "If you do not know, I am not going to tell you." I spent the next hour scrolling through my memory trying to figure out my crime. When I finally discovered the unliked photo, I apologized. But something sat wrong in my stomach that night. I could not shake the feeling that I was being tested in a game where I did not know the rules. Then the pattern emerged. Every time we had a disagreement, instead of talking to me about it, Madison would post a quote on Facebook, some vague, passive-aggressive message aimed at me, but visible to everyone we knew. After I suggested we budget better, she posted, "Some people do not know how to appreciate what they have." When I came home late from work one night, she posted, "Real men make time for their women." Her friends would swarm the comments with support. They would call her strong. They would tell her she deserved better. And I would become the villain in a story I never got to tell my side of. I tried to brush it off. I told myself she was just processing her feelings in her own way. But every time I saw those notifications, something inside me cracked a little more. My buddy Derek, who I have known since college, pulled me aside one day. He had seen the posts. Everyone had seen the posts. He looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Dude, what is going on with you two? You are making excuses for someone who is publicly humiliating you." I defended her. I told him he did not understand. I told him Madison was just expressive. Derek shook his head and did not push further, but I could see the worry in his face. I chose not to listen. I believed she would change. I believed love would be enough. The financial situation started wearing on me about a year into living together. The house was mine completely in my name. I paid the mortgage every month about $1,400. Madison was supposed to cover utilities maybe $300 total, but more often than not she would come up short. This month was slow for clients, she would say. Next month will be better. So I covered the electricity. I covered the water bill. I covered groceries, home repairs, everything. Meanwhile, Madison had a new outfit every week. She was getting her nails done regularly. She upgraded to the latest phone. I did not want to be the guy who kept score, but the imbalance was becoming impossible to ignore. One evening I brought it up as gently as I could. I told her I thought we should figure out a more fair way to split expenses. Maybe she could take on a few more clients, or we could cut back on some things together. The moment the words left my mouth, her expression changed. Her eyes narrowed. She said, "So you are keeping score now? I thought we were a team." She turned around and did not speak to me for 2 days. On the third day, I opened Facebook to find a new quote on her timeline. "A real man provides. A boy calculates." The post had 47 likes and 12 comments. Her friends were talking about selfish men who do not know how to treat a woman. I wanted to comment. I wanted to explain that I paid for almost everything while she spent money on things we did not need. But I knew engaging would only create more drama, so I stayed silent like I always did. Thanksgiving last year was when things really started to break inside me. Madison wanted to host dinner at our place. I agreed because I wanted to make her happy. I spent the entire week cleaning the house, preparing the menu, buying all the ingredients. Her family was coming, her mother Linda, her younger sister, and a few cousins. I was determined to make a good impression. The day arrived. I woke up at 6 in the morning to start the turkey. I made mashed potatoes from scratch, homemade gravy, green bean casserole, the works. Madison was busy arranging decorations and taking photos of the table settings for Instagram. When her family arrived, I greeted everyone warmly. I took their coats. I offered drinks. Linda, Madison's mother, looked around the house with an expression I could not quite read. Throughout the meal, she kept making comments. "The gravy is a bit thin." "Is it not? Madison deserves a bigger house, do you not think? When are you two getting married? Madison is not getting any younger, you know." I smiled through every single remark. I said nothing. I just kept serving food and refilling glasses. But the moment that shattered me came at the end of dinner. Linda set down her fork, looked directly at me, and said loud enough for the entire table to hear, "I just hope you are treating my daughter right. She tells me things you know." The table went quiet. I looked at Madison, waiting for her to defend me, to tell her mother that I had been nothing but good to her. Madison kept her eyes on her phone. She said nothing, not a single word. That night, after everyone left, I asked Madison what her mother meant. What things had she been telling her? Madison brushed me off. "She is just protective," she said. "Do not make it a big deal." I lay awake until 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, realizing I was in a relationship where I constantly had to prove myself but would never be enough. The small wounds kept piling up after that. One time, Madison posted a photo of us together, but she had cropped out half my face. When I asked about it, she shrugged and said the lighting was better that way. Another time, we went to dinner with her friends. The whole evening she told stories about me that were supposed to be funny. How I snore, how I wear the same 3 shirts, how I do not understand social media at all. Everyone laughed while I sat there with a frozen smile, feeling about 2 inches tall. For our 2-year anniversary, I saved up and bought tickets to see her favorite band in concert. I thought she would be thrilled. Instead, she looked at the tickets and her face fell. "I thought we were going to a resort in Mexico," she said. That night she posted a story. "Sometimes it is the thought that counts." I guess I could not win. No matter what I did, it was never right. When I got promoted at work, I was genuinely excited to share the news. I had worked hard for that position, put in countless extra hours. I came home ready to celebrate. Madison listened to me explain the promotion, and the first thing she said was, "Does that mean you will be working even more hours?" No congratulations, no pride, just worry about how it would affect her. The final argument happened on a Friday night. I came home exhausted after a brutal week at work. Madison was lying on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She asked me to order dinner because she did not feel like cooking. I tried to keep my voice light when I suggested maybe we could cook together since she had the day off. She exploded. "So I cannot even relax in my own home," she shouted. I should not have said what I said next, but I was tired. 2 years of accumulated frustration came spilling out. "This is my home," I said. "I pay for everything here." The moment those words hit the air, everything changed. Madison launched into a tirade. She called me controlling. She called me toxic. She compared me to her ex. I tried to explain myself, but she was not listening anymore. She grabbed a pillow from our bed, stormed into the living room, and slammed the door. I lay alone in my own bedroom, wondering how I had become the villain in my own story. The next morning I woke up with a heaviness in my chest. I did not want to face another confrontation, so I decided to get out of the house for a while. I drove to a coffee shop a few miles away, ordered a black coffee, and sat in my car. I just needed to breathe. That is when I pulled out my phone and saw the notification. Madison had posted a new status about 15 minutes earlier. It was one of those aesthetic quote images with fancy lettering. The text read, "Sometimes you have to walk away from toxic men to find your peace." In just 30 minutes, it had 23 likes. The comments were already rolling in. "You deserve better," Queen one friend wrote. "DM me if you need to talk," said another. "Some men never grow up," someone else added. Her mother had commented too. I knew something was wrong. "Come home any time, sweetheart." I sat in my car reading each comment, feeling my chest tighten. But something was different this time. The hurt I expected did not come. Instead, there was this strange clarity washing over me. I had spent 2 years apologizing for things I did not do wrong. 2 years trying to prove I was good enough. 2 years watching myself become a villain on social media while bending over backward in real life. I was exhausted, and for the first time, I did not want to fix it. I remembered what Derek had told me months ago. "She is publicly humiliating you," he had said. I did not listen then. But sitting in that parking lot, his words finally made sense. I looked at the post again. Toxic men. I thought about all the bills I paid, all the holidays I worked through so she could have nice things, all the times I apologized for crimes I did not commit. Before I could overthink it, my thumb moved. I pressed the like button on her post. Then I clicked on the comment box and typed 2 words. "I agree." I pressed enter. My heart was pounding, but my mind was completely calm. I turned off my phone, finished my coffee, and drove to Derek's place. Derek opened his front door, took one look at my face, and stepped aside without a word. We sat on his back porch with a couple of beers. The silence between us was comfortable. Finally, he asked, "You finally did something." I handed him my phone, let him read what I had posted. Derek looked at the screen for a long moment, then burst out laughing. "Oh man," he said, "she is going to lose her mind." My phone started lighting up. Notification after notification. Text messages from Madison came flooding in. "What the hell, Caleb? Are you seriously doing this? Call me now." A message from Linda arrived. "You are a coward. A real man talks face to face." On the Facebook post, people were confused. Some of Madison's friends did not know how to react. A few people actually started liking my comment. Madison's response came quickly. She posted another story. "When someone shows you who they really are, believe them." Then another. "Imagine being with someone for 2 years and they betray you like this." She was trying to control the narrative, spinning the story her way like she always did. But my 2-word comment had disrupted her script. For once, I was not playing my assigned role. About 2 hours later, my phone buzzed with a new notification. Madison had posted a photo. I felt my stomach drop as the image loaded. It was a picture of suitcases, several of them lined up on the driveway of my house. She had tagged me in the post. The caption read simply, "Start walking." Derek was looking over my shoulder. He squinted at the screen. "Wait," he said slowly, "is that not your house?" I nodded. "And those are her suitcases." I nodded again. Derek leaned back in his chair, processing what he was seeing. She really did not think this through, did she? I stood up and grabbed my keys. "I am going home," I told him. When I pulled into my driveway, the suitcases were still there, baking in the Texas sun. I walked past them and opened my front door. Madison was sitting in the living room, arms crossed, her expression a mixture of anger and triumph. She thought she had won. She thought I would come crawling back, begging her to stay. "So you finally showed up," she said, her voice dripping with contempt. I kept my voice calm. "This is my house, Madison." Her face flickered with something, maybe surprise at my tone. "After everything I have given you," she started. I cut her off. "What exactly have you given me? I have been trying to figure that out for months." She opened her mouth to argue, but I was not finished. "You know what I realized today," I said. "I have spent 2 years trying to be good enough for someone who does not even see me. Someone who would rather talk about me online than talk to me in person. I am done." The anger in her eyes shifted to something else. Her voice softened. "Baby, I did not mean any of it. You know how I get when I am upset." It was the same pattern. The explosion, then the softening, then my apology, then back to normal until the next time. But this time I saw it for what it was. "That is the problem," I said. "I do know how you get, and I have accepted it for far too long." I walked outside and picked up her suitcases. One by one I loaded them into the back of her car. She followed me, alternating between crying and cursing, but I did not engage. When the last bag was in, I turned to face her. "I hope you find what you are looking for," I said, "but it is not here." She got in her car. As she backed out of the driveway, she looked at me one more time through the window. Then she was gone. I stood there watching until her car disappeared around the corner. The Texas heat pressed down on me, but for the first time in 2 years, I felt like I could breathe. The first few days after Madison left were harder than I expected. The house felt too quiet. Every corner reminded me of her. I would wake up in the middle of the night and reach for someone who was not there. I questioned myself constantly. Did I do the right thing? Could I have tried harder? Should I have just apologized again? Madison kept posting online, of course, moving on to bigger and better things. Turns out the trash takes itself out. God has a plan for me. I made myself stop looking after the 3rd day. Every post was designed to hurt me, and I refused to give it that power anymore. After about a week, something shifted. I woke up one morning and realized I was not anxious. For the first time in 2 years, I did not have to wonder what she was posting about me. I did not have to guess if today would be a good day or a day full of silent treatment. The silence in my house was not lonely anymore. It was peaceful. I started running again. Madison had always complained when I tried to wake up early for exercise, so I had given it up. Now I was out before sunrise watching the sky turn pink over Austin. I started cooking food I actually liked instead of things that photographed well. I called my parents more often. I reorganized my entire house, painting the living room a color I had always wanted instead of the gray she had insisted on. Derek invited me to go fishing with him one weekend. I had turned down invitations like this for months because Madison did not like being left alone. But now I said yes. We sat on a boat at Lake Travis, not catching much of anything, just talking. It felt good to reconnect with the person I used to be. I ran into Ray, an old colleague from my previous job. He mentioned a freelance project he was working on and asked if I wanted to collaborate. A year ago, I would have said no because Madison hated when I worked extra hours. But now I said yes. The project turned into a great opportunity, and Ray became a good friend. One of the hardest things I did was unfollow Madison on Facebook. I did not block her, just unfollowed. I did not need to see her life anymore. Whatever she was doing, whoever she was with, it was not my concern. I was finally free from the constant loop of checking her profile and feeling bad about myself. 6 months passed. My house felt like mine again. I had new furniture, new routines, new energy. Work was going better than ever. The project with Ray led to other opportunities. I even got a raise. One Saturday afternoon, I wandered into a bookstore downtown. I was browsing the fiction section when I noticed a woman standing nearby holding the same book I was looking at. We made eye contact and laughed. Her name was Grace. We ended up getting coffee next door and talking for 2 hours about books and travel and nothing particularly important. We exchanged numbers. No pressure, no games, just two adults getting to know each other. A few weeks later, I received a message from Madison. I had not heard from her since she drove away that day. Her text read, "I have been thinking about us. Maybe we were both wrong. Want to talk?" I stared at those words for a long time. A year ago, I would have jumped at the chance to fix things. I would have apologized for everything and begged her to come back. But sitting in my living room in my peaceful house with my life finally moving forward, I realized I had nothing to say to her. I deleted the message without responding. Some chapters are meant to stay closed. You know, I have learned something important from all of this. Real love does not need to be performed for an audience. The right person will talk to you, not about you. They will work through problems with you in private, not broadcast your failures for likes and comments. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is agree with someone when they call you toxic and walk away from the toxicity they created. If you are in a relationship where you are always the villain in someone else's online story, maybe it is time to write your own. And sometimes that story begins with just 2 simple words. I agree. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a relationship where social media caused more problems than it solved? Have you ever felt like you were performing a role instead of being loved for who you are? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If this story touched you in any way, please give it a like. It really helps the channel grow. Hit that subscribe button if you have not already, and share this video with someone who might need to hear it today. Thank you so much for being here with me. Wherever you are right now, I hope you choose yourself. I hope you remember that your peace is worth more than any relationship that requires you to lose yourself. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one.